All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, March the 6th, the State Government Committee. It is that crazy time of the year. Everybody's going this way and that way, and we're trying to do the best we can in scheduling and getting started. So, with that, Mr. Clerk, please take the roll.
Representatives Alexander, Bricken, Butler, Carringer, Chisholm, Dixie, Haston, Holsclaw, Hurt, Jernigan, Johnson, Leatherwood, Littleton, McCalman, Miller, Pearson, Powell, Powers, Rudder, Terry, Vice Chair Eldridge, Chairman Kiesling.
Here.
Mr. Chairman, you have a quorum.
Okay. All right, members. Are there any personal announcements or personal orders from any of you this morning? Yes, we do. Representative Pearson.
Thank you so much, Chairman. And just two things. I have one is actually a question for the committee. Do all constitutional amendments that get sent through the legislature come through our committee?
We will, let's see. Are we going to have to go out of session? No. All right, we're going to let the council, Mr. Mundy, would you please address that, please?
Thank you. Matt Money from Legal. Resolutions go to committees based on subject matter jurisdiction.
Mr. Pearson, follow up.
Yes. So that's all constitutional amendments. They just go based on the committee. You said resolution.
That's my understanding.
Okay, gotcha. And then second is our day in history. Today in 1846, we received the Dred Scott decision. You all know Dred Scott. He and his wife, Harriet Robinson Scott, sued for freedom. They lived in Missouri, a slave state, but their enslavers had taken them to territories where slavery was outlawed. And so the idea was that once free, always free doctrine would apply to them. As you all know what happened with Justice Tunney in 1857. He was denied the right to be free and was told that he did not have power in the federal court and had no rights that had to be respected, which unfortunately kind of enshrined racial difference, racist ideology into our institutions. And so I think as we think about state government, as we think about our country, how we continue to progress and move forward, admitting the history and doing what we can to remedy it is just so important. And so thank you so much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Representative Pearson. And before we get started, we must, without even second thought, we want to celebrate two birthdays today. The first one is our dear friend, Representative Chisholm. Where is he? Yes, Representative Chisholm. March. That's right. March the 4th. And Representative, or Chairman Hastings. Where's Chairman? Here we are, right down here. All right. Absolutely. All right. Very good. Happy birthday to all. We're going to get started. We are running already behind the clock and behind the 8 ball. So let us, what we're going to do, Chair's going to make a call. Leader Lambert has a very important issue, commitment that he has to take. Please bear with us, those on there. We're going to move that. He is item number 17, and we're going to bring him on up first for his emergency. Is it 6? It's 17. Yes. I'm sorry. It's House Bill 1684. And let's see. I see no amendments. So, Leader, you're recognized, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You are a gentleman and a scholar. I deeply appreciate you. I will say very briefly, my baby sister is here, Miss Stephanie Dorr. She's right there in the front row. Please stand up. Y'all make her feel welcome.
All right. Thank you. Do we have a motion and a second on? Yes, we do. We got a motion and a second. Leader Lambert.
Mr. Chairman, very straightforward. The Storm Act at the federal level provides for significant funds for FEMA and specifically for disaster relief. This creates a revolving loan fund program here at the state level to be able to access those federal funds for those disaster relief areas that may occur in the state of Tennessee.
All right. Thanks, sir. You have heard an explanation, members, of the bill. Any questions to the sponsor? Yes, we do. Dr. Terry, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chairman. And I just want to ask the leader if you needed help from your sister to bring this across this through the committee today.
Leader Lambert.
There are 4 siblings in my family. I am the oldest. The genetics got better at each child after. So
There's got to be a follow-up, Dr. Terry. No?
I'll vote for it because of her.
All right.
thank you.
Further questions to the sponsor? None. I don't see any. Yes, sir. We got a motion on, or excuse me, call for the question, and I see no objections. Let us vote on House Bill 1684. Those in favor, please say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. And Leader, you're headed to GovOps, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of
Congratulations.
the committee. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Let's now go back in sequence here. Item number 1, House Bill 2190, and by our good friend Representative Fritz and Representative I see. Let's get a motion in a second. We do. We have a motion in a second. We've got an amendment here. Representative Fritz, could you please convey to us your drafting code?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Drafting code is 13504, and it does make the bill.
That is correct, and he states it does make the bill. So do I hear a motion? And a second, and let's get this on the bill. Got a motion and a second. We ready to vote? I see no objections. So those in favor of Amendment 13504, please say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes prevail, and it is now on the bill. Representative Fritz, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good morning again to all. I bring to you a bill this morning through passage of this legislation as it is amended. The General Assembly, in accordance to Article 3, Section 5 of the Tennessee Constitution, would be giving Governor Lee the authority to deploy forces to Texas in support of the invasion. It establishes a limit of a brigade-size force on the number of armed forces that the governor can send without additional authorization. It also establishes a time limit on the deployment and a process by which the time limit may be extended if necessary. Why, you may ask, committee, is this necessary? Again, constitutionally, Article 3, Section 5 says that we should declare by law. With the Congressional Committee on Homeland Security reporting that U.S. Customs and Border Patrol had 6.2 million encounters with illegal aliens in 2023. And during that time, another 1.7 million illegal aliens evaded U.S. Customs and Border Patrol and entered the United States. It is clear that the United States is in the midst of an invasion. It's been declared so by the governor of the state of Texas. The federal government has demonstrated an inability or an unwillingness to defend our southwest border from this invasion. Therefore, Texas is exercising its right to defend itself against the invasion. And if we do not assist Texas in repelling that invasion, there's a cost to our citizens as well. Back in the summer, I made the visit down to McAllen, Texas with several of our peers just to see if what you saw in the media and you heard from all of the talking points was accurate. And I can tell you, committee, that it was much worse than I had expected it to be. We met with several Texans there, retired Customs and Border Patrol Sector Chief, who, as I understand the hierarchy in the federal government, would have been reporting to a presidential appointee. And he had just recently retired. What they shared with us and what we were able to see demonstrated conditions on our southern U.S. border that are abhorrent. The words that those Texans used for us were lawless, and they cautioned us that those conditions were spreading north every day as this invasion continued. They give us examples there on the Rio Grande River, where the water intake from McAllen, Texas brought in the city water supply. That the cartels are moving so many human beings just like us, but human beings illegally across that border, that they were being dragged into the water intake system for the city of McAllen. They had to put a chain link fence across that inlet to catch the bodies to prevent plugging up of the water supply. I'll offer you that graphic detail just on that little short area of our Texas border of just how bad it is. I suspect, and I can only suspect, that now 8-9 months later, it's probably even worse. It's with that I would ask for your support in this amendment to do our constitutional duty and enable our governor to send up to a brigade-size force. Those of you who have not served in the armed forces, a brigade or a regiment-size force could be several thousand people. I make no recommendation in this piece of legislation on the number of folks that we should send. This is simply to enable our governor to do our responsibility so that he can continue to support our friends in Texas. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I take you.
All right, that's got it covered, and we do have a couple here. That's okay. Here we go, Representative Pearson. You're recognized.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman and sponsor. A few questions. One, hasn't the governor already sent folks down to the Texas border, or National Guards folks?
Yes, sir. Representative Fritz.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And yes, we have been sending some troops to the border. They've been in support, I think, of the U.S. Customs and Border Patrol and their functions. This would enable, again, a cost mechanism for us to be determined. I can only suspect, Representative, that our framers, when they did our Constitution, understood that the deployment of force had a cost. And part of the objective is to assign a cost. If you look at the fiscal note, you'll see that they've approximated 2,000, just as a round number. But they've also taken a number for the cost of those troops that have been deployed previously, so that we'd have an estimate, as it is incumbent upon us to be responsible to the taxpayer as to what it's going to cost.
Representative Pearson,
Gotcha.
follow up.
Yep, that's 1.4 million. Is that the number you have?
Representative Fritz.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let me look so I don't give you a wrong number, Representative. It is at 1.4, and it was estimated at an approximated cost for each one of the guardsmen who was deployed in the past. Yes,
Gotcha.
sir.
Representative Pearson.
Okay. Thank you so much, sponsor, for answering the questions. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In reading some of the language of this, I struggled with it. I struggle with the term illegal aliens because, as you mentioned, these are human beings. People commit illegal acts, but to call a human being illegal is something that I really do struggle with here. I understand the problem, and I actually, seeing a lot of this legislation coming through the House, wanted to dig a little bit more into the questions related to immigration and the increase that we have seen over the Biden administration. And one of the things that I found was that under the previous president, the use of Title 42 due to COVID and everything else was used. And due to that, literally a virus that was killing so many people, we were able to use Title 42 to prevent the flow of immigrants and migrants from coming into the country. That happened, right, because there was COVID-19 virus. Under the Biden administration, Title 42 was removed as the ramifications, I reckon, as people consider it, of COVID-19 went down. Some people didn't believe in COVID the whole time, so maybe we shouldn't have Title 42 enacted. But that led to an increase, obviously, in the amount of migrants who were allowed to come into the country. And so where I see the numbers, 40% increase in the amount of migrants and things coming toward the border, and I can agree with my colleagues that this is something that we want to work on, that needs intentional oversight and intentional effort. What I'm challenged with, and really what concerns me most substantially right here, Representative Fritz, is this clause: whereas the governor of Texas has declared the conditions along the U.S.-Mexican border in Texas constitute an invasion of his state and our country, now therefore be resolved. And then if we look at Article 3, Section 5 of the Constitution, it says the militia shall not be called into service except in case of rebellion or invasion, and then only when the General Assembly shall declare by law that the public safety requires it. The General Assembly authorizes the governor of the state of Tennessee to deploy up to a brigade-sized force, and thank you for mentioning that, over 1,000 people, to Texas to assist in repelling the invasion, as it's written here, at the southern border of the United States. Listen, there will be times where any governor can call a lot of things a public safety issue. And by us following the decree of another state and saying we're going to use our power and our voice to then give license to governors to be able to do sort of whatever it is they think is in the interest of public safety. And us saying that we are going to act as a state because a governor of one of the 50 states for which we are equals says so is really troubling and problematic to me, because there can be another case where a governor says, with COVID obviously was an example, where the governor of California or the governor of Michigan could have said, this is a public safety emergency. And the House, probably differently predisposed, would be allowed to then send our National Guards troops to those states because they say that public safety is at risk. I'm just concerned about us giving our power away to another state. It isn't a part of sort of the federal government, right? The piece that's not mentioned in Article 3, Section 5 is that the president and the chief executive officer of the United States is the one, shall be the commander in chief of the Army and Navy of this state, the governor, and of the militia, except when they are called into service of the United States. This is not in service of the United States in a material way, although I do understand in the political way that it is. And so that's why I'm troubled with this legislation, because I don't want us sending our troops because a governor says something, because that can change. And the demographic makeup of this place could change, and we have people going to different states for reasons that many of us probably would not think necessary. And so that I appreciate you answering the questions, Representative Fritz. I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you, Mr. Representative Pearson, and of course, Representative Fritz. I need not remind you, you're already knowledgeable of this. I want to avoid a running debate, as you well know. We're time short here in a long calendar. So quickly, do you have anything because we need to move on? We've got a lineup of folks needing to ask any response to Representative Pearson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll just field the other questions, and thank you, Representative Pearson.
Okay, thank you. There's nothing further, is it, Representative Pearson? Because we need to move on. Representative McCallum, you are next on the list. You're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sponsor, thank you for bringing this bill. I do plan on supporting it. I do have a couple questions on it. Is this applicable only to the state of Texas, or should the state of Arizona decide that they want to address this too? Are they able to ask for help, and would this apply there?
Representative Fritz.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And this bill is focused on the state of Texas in this case.
Follow up,
Yes, sir.
Representative McCallum.
Thank you, Chairman. And is there a sunset provision on this, or is this just from here on out ongoing?
Representative Fritz.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for that question. It is laid out in the bill what the time limit for the deployment of the forces could be, and there's a reauthorization that would come through this body to extend that time limit.
Got it. I'm sorry.
Last
Is
question.
that a wrap? Or?
Yes, sir. That's
That's a wrap,
Thank
he
you, Chairman.
says. Okay, let's move on. Chairman Powers, you're recognized.
Okay, just a couple of quick questions for the sponsor. Is the term alien in the U.S. Constitution? Is it referred to as alien if they're not a citizen of the U.S.?
Representative Fritz.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Representative, for that question. I think the answer to your question is yes, and I would offer this. I'll be very brief, Chairman, but there is a great difference between an illegal alien and an immigrant. Immigrants come through the door. Illegal aliens kick down the door, come through the window. There's a great comparison, I think, that could be made, colleagues, between our homes. Those who knock on the door and we say, come in, representative, whomever, that they become a guest. They become a visitor. Those who kick in the door become a home invader. And that is what's happening to our country.
Follow up.
One quick
Chairman
follow-up.
Powers.
If they've come across the border, have they already broken our law if they come across illegally? So would they not be determined to be an illegal alien at that point?
Quick response.
Thank you,
Representative
Mr. Chairman.
Fritz.
The answer to your question is yes, Representative.
Okay.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, Mr.
All right. Next is Chairman Eldridge. You are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I call previous question.
All right. Called for the previous question. Okay. We have objection and we have more. We have 3 or more. So that will require us for that requires for a roll call vote. Mr. Clerk, would you take the roll? Now, again, let's remind an aye is in favor of the call for the question. A no is not. Oh, Representative Miller. Okay. All right, Mr. Clerk, roll.
Representative Alexander. Alexander votes aye. Representative Bricken. Representative Bricken. Representative Butler. Representative Carringer.
Aye.
Carringer votes aye. Representative Chisholm. Chisholm votes no. Representative Dixie. Dixie votes no. Representative Haston. Representative Holsclaw. Holsclaw votes aye. Representative Hurt. Hurt votes aye. Representative Jernigan. Jernigan votes no. Representative Johnson of Montgomery. Representative Leatherwood. Leatherwood votes aye. Representative Littleton. Representative McCalman votes aye. Representative Miller votes no. Representative Pearson votes no. Representative Powell votes no. Representative Powers votes aye. Representative Rudder votes aye. Representative Terry votes aye. Vice Chairman Eldridge votes aye. Chairman Kiesling
Aye.
Votes aye.
I'm sorry, what was the count?
Mr. Chairman, you have 12 ayes, 6 noes.
12 ayes and 6 noes. Okay, with that, the motion prevails for the call for the question. So that puts us in posture of a vote. So those in favor, please say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes prevail, and you will be moving on to Finance, Representative Fritz.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, committee.
Let's move on. Item number 2, House Bill 899. Chairman Hurt, you from beautiful District 82. Chairman Hurt, you're recognized. He got a motion and a second, and you do have an amendment on this one following it. So would you please give us the tracking code, Chairman Hurt?
Yes, sir. I have 004439.
004439 is correct. Do I have a motion and a second? Let's get it on the bill. All right, we do. We have a motion and a second. Any objections? See none. Let's get it. Let's vote. Those in favor, please say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes prevail, and it is now, Chairman Hurt, it is now on House Bill 899. You, sir, are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And House Bill 899 refers to state-owned ground managed by the TWRA. And all it does is allow the TWRA to renegotiate after a bid is awarded through sealed bid, not less than 60 days prior to the expiration of that bid. It allows the TWRA to renegotiate with that farmer moving forward if they're pleased with the performance the farmer is showing, and it allows them to extend the contract, whether it be 3, 4, 5 years, whatever it is, continuously on each expiration date up to a maximum of 20 years. And after that, it will automatically go back to a sealed bid. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I'll take.
All right,
questions.
good explanation. And yes, Representative Powell, you're recognized, sir.
Thank you, and I appreciate you doing the courtesy of coming by and talking to me about this bill. I think that we need to always have an open bid process in the state, but I understand the situation here. And, unlike in other situations where you might have a no bid contract without a previous relationship, at least here there's that relationship in place and it's been bid once. So I support your bill and appreciate your coming to talk to me.
All right, very good. Thank you, Representative Powell. Further questions to the sponsor? I see none. We've got a call for the question. That puts us up for the vote. Those in favor of House Bill 899 as amended, please say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes prevail, and you, Chairman Hurt, are headed to calendar and rules, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee.
Members, item number 3, our chairman, Mr. Chairman Haston, is out, doing what? He's somewhere behind the podium presenting a bill. So we're going to just, here's what the chair is going to do. As soon as he returns, then we'll put him back up. But let's move on. Item number 4, and to our dear chair lady Carringer, with House Bill 2362. We got a motion and a second. Chair Lady Carringer, you are recognized.
Thank you, Chairman and committee. House Bill 2362 is really just a simple cleanup bill, housekeeping bill. and comes from my 911 director, who also serves as the vice chair of the Emergency Communications Board. The bill just simply updates the fiscal years in the statute from 2010 through 2012 and 2021 through 2023 to reflect the distribution that goes to the districts. And it's simply just an update. I would
Okay, very good.
stand for
Very good
questions.
explanation. All right, any questions to the sponsor? See, I got it. Got a call for the question. So let us vote. Those in favor of House Bill 2362, please say aye. Those opposed, no. Ayes prevail, and you are headed to calendar and rules. Chair lady. Ladies and gentlemen, item number 5 has been rolled 1 week. Please note, 1 week. Item 6, House Bill 2090 by Leader Lambert, and we'll roll him. Oh, wait a minute. No, that's my apology. Our Chairman Hicks is in a committee. So let's move on. We'll bring him back. Let's keep moving. Move. All right. Item number 7, House Bill 2808. That's item number 7, House Bill 2808 by the handsome Chairman Halsey. And there he is as we speak. Chairman Halsey has arrived, and we're awaiting his appearance before the committee. Chairman Halsey, I'm going to get him. We got you already have a motion before you even got up there. You got a motion and a second. But we also see that you have an amendment, and while you get your paperwork together, you're going to need to tell us the drafting code of this one, please.
Thank you, and thank you for indulging. It's 014686.
That is correct, sir. All right, we got a motion, and yes, we got a second on the amendment, on Amendment 148686. Let's vote. Those in favor, please say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes prevail. It is now, Chairman, on your bill, and you, sir, are recognized. Thank you for being with us today, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate it very much. I missed this committee, actually.
I know you do.
Used to be on it for a long time.
I know.
So that means you ought to pass this bill without even me talking about it.
We miss you. We miss you, but we're not going to let you go that far.
All
No.
right.
Proceed.
Everybody that's on this committee that knows anything about your county jail understands that the cost of giving medicine to inmates that have HIV is a pretty expensive deal. It's a little over $3,000 a month per inmate. And of course, what happens is when they get arrested and put in a county jail, if they were on HIV medication prior to that, that drops off and the county has to pick up that expense. And it really does affect budgets in the county jail. So what this bill says is if you were receiving HIV treatment before you went into the county jail, either through TennCare or the health department in Tennessee or Ryan White funds, that you will continue to receive it after you get in the jail through that process. Now, if you read the amendment, Ryan White's just a little bit different in their protocol. So for Ryan White, the sheriff would have to have a deputy drive somebody to the closest facility that sees HIV people through Ryan White program, or do it on a Zoom call, a telemedicine type call. The other way with TennCare, they would just have to apply through the Department of Corrections to keep that treatment coming. So that's what the bill does.
All right, thank you, Chairman. And it's it's tough out in rural Tennessee when it comes to jails, sheriff's department. So it certainly is. It has an effect on the budgets. So any questions to this? Yes, we do. Representative Powell, you're recognized.
So thank you, Chairman, for the bill. I know last year we passed a similar bill, and I raised objections on concerns on the bill because I thought that not requiring the state to cover these medications could prove costly in many other ways, such as then you have a prison population where potentially someone might have HIV and without these medications could get full-blown AIDS, and then they're in a prison population could spread even further, corrections facility. So essentially what we're doing is we're fixing some of the issues that came up last year with that legislation. Is that correct?
That's
Chairman
correct.
Halsey.
Yes, that is correct. And we failed on that bill over some specific things in how we had the mechanism, because we were just trying to get the application of money to be paid for it. This way, it is isolated to people who are on treatment before they ever go in the jail, that they maintain it. And the jail, whether they get it or not, is completely responsible under existing state law to take care of the medical needs of prisoners. So they don't have a choice. They have to.
Representative Powell.
Well, I just say I appreciate you coming back and fixing this. I wish we could have gotten this right last year and
Me too.
and alleviated some of my concerns I have with this legislation. But thank you for coming back and fixing some of the problems that we passed last year.
Thank you for those comments, Representative Powell. Appreciate that. Any further questions to the sponsor? Do we? No, got a call for the question. All right, let's vote. Those in favor of House Bill 2808 as amended, please say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes prevail. And you, Chairman, are headed to Finance, Ways and Means.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and
Congratulations.
thank you, committee.
Yes, sir. Thank you for being with us today. And next we have, who has just arrived, item number 8, House Bill 1950. Yes, Chairman Clemens, welcome.
Thank you, sir. It's
You
great to
are
be
welcome.
here.
You are recognized, sir.
Well, I appreciate it, sir. Well, I'm bringing this piece of bipartisan sponsored legislation to honor and remember the great sacrifice made by the brave soldiers, sailors, and airmen on June 6, 1944, and give thanks for the freedom that they gave so many of us. And so what this legislation would do is create D-Day Remembrance Day in Tennessee, and we'd honor this every year on June 6th. This year will be the 80th anniversary
Really?
of the largest amphibious and landing and invasion of that type. And so, we are proud to have, I know Speaker Johnson represents Fort Campbell and part thereof, and we have other members who represent that area, and the 101st Airborne and the paratroopers. And we had a lot of training go on in Middle Tennessee and around the state of Tennessee for World War II, because our landscapes were similar to those where we would be invading. And then I sent you all, I think, members of the committee, the story from the Tennessee State Museum regarding the story regarding the Old Hickory Infantry Task Force. So we have a lot of great history here, a lot of great brave men and women, and I'd love to have everybody join me in this endeavor.
God bless you for this, sir. Yes, sir. Representative McCalvin, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chairman and sponsor. Thank you for bringing this. You and I spoke Monday night about this bill. I think it is incredible. Happy to co-sponsor it alongside you. Just for the record on this, I mentioned it to you that my cousin's father-in-law, we called him Grandpa Joe. He was on the beaches of Normandy on D-Day. So this is something incredible. So thank you for bringing it.
Thank you, Representative McCowan. Chairman Clemens, follow up.
No, I just, I often think about the young men who were on those landing craft, just like I spoke about with Representative McCalman. These are 18, 19-year-old kids, essentially, who were standing there listening to the dings of those shells and those bullets hitting the side of that, knowing that door was going to open and they were going to get off there. And they did so with pure courage, and we all benefit from it on a daily basis. So I think this celebration is long overdue.
Thank you, sir. You got one more. Chairman Powers, you're recognized.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And thank you for bringing this forward. I really appreciate it. I got to go to Normandy a few years ago, and it was amazing to see the cliffs that they climbed up, to see where they had ships out there that they sunk so they could move in their landing craft up on the beaches, because they didn't have a bridge and they would actually have to sink their own ships to do that. I mean, I'm still amazed after going to all the beaches there and looking at what they did, that they were able to accomplish that. One thing I found out that was really, I guess, kind of interesting or ironic that day, that particular day, and they didn't know it, but they actually were doing training, had a firing range right above the cliffs there in Normandy, and the Germans were over there practicing that day or we wouldn't have had as many casualties, but they didn't know it at that time. So it just happened to fall on day. But thank you. And my father's in World War II, and I really appreciate you and thank you for bringing this bill.
All right. Thank you, sir. All right. Any further questions? I see none. Oh, whoop, hold up. We've got one more. Okay, Chair Lady Carringer.
I just wanted to ask Chairman Clemens if he had a sign-on sheet for us that you could do for us, and
I
we
will,
could sign
I will
on.
hand deliver one to your office and circulate it.
Thank you, Chair Lady. All right. Any further questions? See none. I got a call for the question, and we are up for a vote. House Bill for 1950. Those in favor, please say aye. Those opposed, no. And the ayes prevail. Thank you again,
Thank
Chairman
you, sir.
Clemens, for this. All right. You're going to calendar and rules. John. Okay, calendar and rules. Item number 9. That's an HJR 841 by Dr. Williams. Now, the reason I address Chairman Williams as doctor, those of you who were in the finance committee earlier this week, he was designated as doctor by Chair Lady Hazelwood. So congratulations. Congratulations, Dr. Williams. You're recognized. I see no amendments.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Chairman and members.
Got a motion and a second.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman, members for and Chairman for the title. Thankfully for the public, I will not be practicing medicine. This House Joint Resolution was brought to me by my local school board association. Currently, if you have a fundraiser for your ball team in Cookeville, you have to file a lottery gaming permit through the Secretary of State's office. And if you don't do that and you have an event, you're actually committing a crime. And the big challenge is that most of the ones in my district are not even aware of this, and the district attorney doesn't really want to charge school systems who are trying to raise money on behalf of their students for a crime. So what this bill would do, it would carve out through a constitutional amendment, would carve out for local school systems all across the state to be able to have one chain gaming event currently like you do now, and that one single gaming event per those. So you could have one, but it has to be affiliated with the school system itself. And so that's what this bill does. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Sure, of course. Good.
the members
Yes.
might have.
Yes, we do. All right, Representative Pearson, you're up. You're recognized.
Thank you so much. And thank you, Chairman. Thank you, sponsor. Can you, part of my challenge with this was I didn't see where that was articulated. What you just stated was that it was one gaming event. It seemed to kind of open this up a lot more broadly. And so I saw Chairman Miller's hands up, but if you could just articulate where in the legislation it's limiting it to one.
Chairman Williams.
The challenge in drafting it is that because it's one entity, one LEA, it's difficult to say one and then exclude 60 other people. And so the language came to me from the School Board Association. We worked on it in order to do that. It's the intent that it would be one per entity. So what we don't want to do is have a regular Friday night gaming event for the football team during the whole period of time. To answer your question directly, Representative, there's not language in here that says that. However, it is in the intent to do so. And I have been working with Secretary of State's office to try to make sure we clarify that language. This bill, if found favoring, or this resolution, if found favor here, would go to finance sub, of which will go behind the budget. And he and I are trying to figure out how to perfect that challenge that you and I both see.
Okay. Representative Pearson, follow up.
Okay. One, thank you for answering the question. Thanks for your honesty about it and effort to work on this. I'm the concern that I'm thinking about is, having, again, the football game becoming its own fundraiser, a lot of resources going to one school in addition, and other schools not having that. So it's a question there. But I will vote in favor of it, and with the expectation that you would be doing that you're saying. So
Thank you, sir. Representative Miller, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a question. You really already answered it. Is it necessary to amend the Constitution? Can't we possibly do any of this by just
Well, you're good question, Chairman Williams.
statute?
Thank you. Thank you, Representative Miller. I don't have a PhD in constitutional law either, but I'm told that we did try to pass, I do have a similar bill that was filed in order to do it, but because it deals with charitable gaming and the prohibitions as it relates to much like we had to do with the Tennessee lottery, that it would require a constitutional amendment to do so.
Representative Miller, follow up, sir. No, he says no. Chair Lady Littleton, you're recognized. Chair Lady Littleton has called for the previous question. Any objections? I see none. Let's vote on House Bill 840, HJR 841. Those in favor, please say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes prevail, and you're headed to finance, just as you said. You're headed to finance, Chairman.
Thank you, Chairman and members.
Thank you. All right, we're down at the bottom of that page of your calendar, page 8. Item 10 is Leader Barrett here? I do not see him. Let's keep moving then. We'll, if I have to, we're going to keep moving there. All right, let's move to item 11, HJR 844. All right, Chairman Darby, you no amendments, so you are recognized, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. HJR 844 is a Special Olympics. In the Special Olympics, USA hosts a national summer games every 4 years. And this right here is an endorsement resolution supporting Special Olympics Tennessee to bid for the 2030 Special Olympics here in Nashville, Tennessee. And with that, I'll stand for questions.
That's great. Okay, any questions? Yes, we do. Representative Powell, you're recognized. Could be in your district, huh?
I'm not sure about that, but I really appreciate you bringing this. I've had the good fortune of being invited by the Special Olympics to attend events over the years, and you know, these athletes that compete, it's truly amazing to watch and very inspiring to see. And I think this would be a tremendous benefit to the state to have this here in Nashville, and hope we can make this happen. Thank you.
Chairman Darby, follow up.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Representative Powell. Last Wednesday night, we got to go and work out with them because they're on a training regimen here for the next few weeks here for the upcoming summer games. And anybody that gets a chance to do it, we've got to do some special things up here. But I promise you it'll be one of the most rewarding things that you'll get to do.
Wonderful. All right, Chairman Hurt, all eyes are on you, sir. You're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm just going to echo what Representative Darby just said about the opportunity. If any of you have a chance on Wednesday, I believe it's Wednesday evenings, go to the Tennessee Special Olympics website, and they'll tell the dates and where those are, and you get a chance to pair up with one athlete and go through their training program with them. And it's a blast. It's, again, like he said, it's incredible to watch, but I urge all of you, if you get some time, and I know on Wednesdays right now it's pretty tough, but as we move forward, to look at that, and maybe if you get an opportunity to go out there and participate in it, because they enjoy all the volunteers they can have, and it's truly a great thing. So thank you for this.
Thank you, Chairman Hurt. Any further questions? Yes, we got a call for the question on House Bill, HJR 844. Excuse me. All right, those in favor, let's vote. Those in favor, please say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes prevail. And Representative Darby, do not move. I'm going to explain something. You will be headed to calendar and rules, sir. Members, I want to pause just quickly. And Representative Darby does have his leadership or some folks down from his district. He is up, continuing on the calendar. He's number 25. If you don't mind, if there's no objections, I would. Well, he's number 12 too. I'm sorry, I didn't know that. So we got 12. Well, forgive me. We'll do that on. Go ahead. You're up. Item number 12. House Bill 2263. I'm getting ahead of myself, getting the cart before the horse, as they say. But I got a motion, and yes, we got a motion and a second. Also got an amendment. Please give us that tracking code, Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I've got a look here. I did not know that we had an amendment on this.
Yes, sir. Let me just call it out. I've got 14171 members. Is that correct? Is that what you have? Okay. They say yes. So with that,
Mr. Chairman, I apologize. I did find it 014171.
That is correct, sir.
Yes, sir.
And we've got a motion and a second on the amendment. Do we not? Yes, we do. Let's get the amendment on. Those in favor, please say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. And it is now on your bill, House Bill 2263. And again, my apology, Chairman. Go right ahead, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. HB 2263 looks to proactively prevent issues hunters in other states are facing by stating clearly in Tennessee statute that hunting and fishing are conservation method and are the preferred methods of wildlife management. Further, this bill will require the appointees to the Fish and Wildlife Commission to be active participants in the activities regulated by the TWRA.
Very good. Any questions? Yes, we do. Representative Pearson,
I know.
you recognize.
Thank you so much. What would this legislation do for the current ways that our department is operating? Because I know it's very important that we have angling, so very important that we have fishing, very important we have hunting. I understand those things and helping, as you mentioned, a lot of populations survive. But what does this prioritization do as it relates to the department's current efforts?
Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Under right now, they appoint people and not a lot of background checking. And this puts it in statute here that they have to be active participants in hunting, fishing, boating, any outdoor activities.
Representative Pearson.
Thank you.
Follow up? No, he says no. Further questions? All right, we got a motion on the bill. Well, we've got a question on the bill, don't we? All right, question on the bill, and that puts us up for a vote. Those in favor of House Bill 2263 as amended, say aye, please. Those opposed, no. The ayes prevail. And stay put. Your account, that's going to calendar and rules, Chairman. Now, what I started to say is by the way, do you have some folks here in the committee room? Would you like to recognize them, Chairman?
I've got three pretty young ladies here from West Tennessee, and if y'all could raise your hand there, if y'all could give them a warm welcome.
There we go. All right. And thank you all for being with us. We're gonna fit your representative in real quick here, and then you guys can take off. Members, fast forward to item number 25 on your calendar. That's House Bill 2262. Chairman Darby, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Under current law, blind vendors are entitled to statutory preference in the operation of vending facilities on most public property in Tennessee. You're probably familiar with the program, which is commonly known as the Blind Vendors Program. Under this program, which dates back to 1949, the Department of Human Services has the right of first refusal and the exclusive right to the operation of all vending facilities on public property determines are capable of being operated by a blind individual that it licenses. House Bill 2262 would not alter anything about the structure of this program. And let me repeat that. This would not alter anything about the structure of the program. It simply requires that contracts for the software utilized by inmate commissary facilities to be competitively bid. The current contract costs the state close to $2.5 million. It is a sole source contract that has never been competitively bid, nor is it subject to oversight by the fiscal review committees. And with that, I'll stand for any questions.
Very good. We need a motion and a second. Tom, yes. Representative Leatherwood's got the motion, and we already got a second. So that opens it up for questioning. Yes, Representative Pearson, you're recognized.
I want to thank you for bringing this bill. I think we do need to ensure that there is competitive bidding processes, particularly within state government, and learning that there's only been one firm that's been used for, I think, a decade now, and hasn't been bid out once. That just doesn't make any sense for making sure that our dollars are being spent well as a state, or that we are being intentional in the ways that we should be. So thank you for this bill.
Yes, and I agree totally. Further questions to the sponsor? I got a question on the bill. Call for it. So let's vote. Those in favor of House Bill 2262, please say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. Prevails. And thank you. This is good. This is good stuff. So we appreciate you bringing this. You are headed to calendar and rules, Chairman, and enjoy the afternoon with your constituents, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate y'all's indulgence.
Thank you. Now we're going to back up. We see that Representative Barrett, is he in the house? I thought I saw him enter the room a moment ago. He is not. Unfortunately, he is not. We'll continue with Chairman Grills, Mr. Ag himself. And we're going to move to item number 13, House Bill, yes, House Bill 2124. We already have a motion. We got a second. And Chairman Grills, you're up, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee. This bill will clarify that all law enforcement, and that means all law enforcement, including sheriff's departments, police departments, are required to fully cooperate and to communicate with the Department of Homeland Security, including reporting that a person is present in the U.S. illegally. And with that, that's what this bill does.
All right, before we open it up for questions, we do have requests for testimony, and we're going to ask Ashley. I'm sorry. There's Ashley. There's Ashley. Ashley, forgive me. I'm afraid to pronounce. Afraid I just chop your last name up terribly. But you know the routine, I think, Ashley. If you would you please give your name? And this will be again. We will go out of session and recognize you. We please comply. Three minutes. You know, we'll give you some latitude there. Go, please.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Ashley Warbington. I'm a native Tennessean, and I'm here today to oppose HB 2124. I sit before you today acutely aware that heartfelt pleas of compassion have sometimes fallen on deaf ears in this and other legislative bodies when it comes to immigration bills. So today I come armed not just with impassioned pleas, but hard-hitting facts and data. I'll speak a language I know you can appreciate, the language of economic well-being and the principles of state sovereignty. Let us look at the economic ramifications of this proposed legislation. Deportations disrupt the labor force, leading to declines in productivity, tax revenues, and local economies. Take Florida, for example, where deportations have resulted in workforce shortages, impacting businesses and communities reliant on immigrant contributions. The ripple effects are felt far and wide, from small enterprises to large industries, stifling growth and prosperity. Moreover, HB 2124 represents a direct assault on states' rights. It undermines the autonomy of Tennessee to set its own priorities and policies regarding immigration enforcement, paving the way for federal overreach into our local affairs. This bill expands the power of federal enforcement within our borders, eroding the very fabric of state sovereignty this body has so adamantly protected in the past. But let us not forget the stark realities of deportation itself. It tears families apart, inflicting emotional distress, trauma, and depression. The consequences are not just personal. They reverberate throughout our communities, breeding isolation and distrust among immigrant populations. This bill perpetuates racial profiling by law enforcement, exacerbating divisions and injustices within our society. These laws are what welcome Nazis marching in downtown Nashville chanting, "Save the white man, deport Mexicans." These policies incite violence. Now, let me reinforce these arguments with data that speaks volumes. The majority of illicit fentanyl seized at ports of entry is smuggled by those legally authorized to cross, not undocumented immigrants. In 2021, a staggering 86.3% of fentanyl trafficking convictions were of U.S. citizens, while just 8.9% were of undocumented immigrants. Furthermore, 99% of fentanyl consumers are U.S. citizens. These statistics lay bare the fallacy that immigrants are the primary perpetrators of such crimes. Now, data aside, imagine the anguish of a child growing up without their parent, torn apart by policies that prioritize fear over compassion, statistics over humanity. HB 2124 is not just misguided, it is dangerous. It jeopardizes our economy, tramples on our states' rights, and perpetuates injustices against immigrant communities. I urge you to reject this bill and stand on the side of reason, compassion, and the principles that truly define our great state. Thank you.
I must thank you. You are perfect.
Thank you.
Your timing was perfect. So thank you for that. Any questions to Ashley? To Ashley, while we have her. Yes, Representative Pearson, you're recognized.
Thank you so much, Chairman, and thank you, Ms. Warbington, for being here. You mentioned something that I think is worth noting, that our state becomes federal enforcement within our borders. Could you elaborate on that just a little bit more?
Yeah, sure. And I think it is somewhat ironic because it is contrary to everything that we have been hearing from this body about wanting to separate itself from the federal government, even to the point where we witnessed 2 weeks of committee meetings trying to not accept federal funding for education. But to answer your question, Representative Pearson, and thank you for the question, it once federal government is within our borders, it will basically bring the federal government into Tennessee anytime law enforcement contacts them, and they will be a large presence here in our state. And it is contrary to everything that I have heard sitting in these committee meetings from the supermajority of this legislative body.
Representative Pearson, quick follow-up.
Thank you so much, Ms. Warburton. I think that's worthwhile for us to really consider and think about what we'd be inviting in with legislation like this. So appreciate you. And thanks
Thank
for
you.
being here.
Okay. Further questions to Ashley? I see none. So thank you for being with us, and we will go back in session. We will start off with Representative Powell. You're recognized, sir.
So I have a very specific question about this. I looked at the fiscal note. I know we're not, it says not significant. So I know that, we're not dealing with fiscal notes here, but given that this has no fiscal note, I don't think fiscal or the finance committee will look at this. So my question is, the 287G program is a program that at one point was here in my city, and we decided not to end that program, 287G. I think there are some communities that still have 287G, such as Memphis, and I might be mixing that up. Regardless, there are a couple of communities that have 287G programs. So my question is this not requiring then all communities to have a 287G program, or else how are communities to know or enforce this law?
Chairman Grills.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I'm not super familiar with 287G, but the law, if you've read the bill, just requires that all law enforcement agencies, in accordance with federal law, communicate with an appropriate federal official regarding immigration status of an individual, including reporting knowledge that a particular alien is not lawfully present in the United States, or otherwise cooperate with the appropriate federal official in the identification, apprehension, detention, or removal of aliens not lawfully present in the U.S. Now, I would assume if that program that you're talking about, those individuals would be here legally. If they were, like I said, I'm not familiar with that program, and my bill doesn't even mention that particular 287G.
If I may, Representative Powell, shall we call on our council for just a moment? Let's go out of session quickly, and if there's no objection, let's go out of question. We're going to call on our council. Mr. Mundy, we'll defer to you, please.
Thank you. Matt Mundy for the record. The 287G program is under the Immigration and Nationality Act. It authorizes ICE to delegate to state and local law enforcement officers the authority to perform specific immigration officer functions under the agency's direction and oversight, but I don't think that that is what this bill is intended to do. This bill, going back to when we were dealing with this several years ago, is coming under 8 United States Code, Section 1357, and I'm just going to read that onto the record. It says, nothing in this subsection shall be construed to require an agreement under this subsection in order for any officer or employee of a state or political subdivision of a state to communicate with the Attorney General regarding the immigration status of any individual, including reporting knowledge that a particular alien is not lawfully present in the United States, or to otherwise cooperate with the Attorney General in the identification, apprehension, detention, or removal of aliens not lawfully present in the United States. As the current law exists today, it's permissive, that cooperation, and this bill is just making that cooperation with the federal government mandatory.
So while we have him, Representative Powell, questions to council? No? Any questions to council while we're out of session? Good opportunity. No, I don't. Yes. Whoa. Okay. Representative Miller, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
To Mr. Mundy, please.
Yes. Attorney did say that this makes it mandatory. Are there any penalties attached to this legislation that makes it mandatory? In other words, if local law enforcement or any officer doesn't abide by this law, are there any penalties attached?
Mr. Mundy.
I'd have to check, Representative Miller, to see if there are any specific penalties. But if in the absence of any penalties, if there's a mandate on a local government or state governmental entity, a person could seek a writ of mandamus from a court to compel their compliance with state law.
Representative Miller, follow up? No, he says no. All right. Okay. No further questions to council. We're gonna go back into session. Representative Powell, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I think 287G is referenced in the code here. It deals with this law, but to me, we got an explanation of what the 287G program is, and it's a voluntary program. I guess my concern here, I have many concerns with this. I represent a very diverse community, very proudly of that diversity. And I think that then if you don't have certain, if they're like, how do you go about determining whether or not you think the law enforcement thinks somebody is legal or not legal?
Chairman Grills.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I believe whenever a law enforcement comes in contact with someone who's allegedly committed a crime, when they ask for identification, if they can't produce that identification, there is a normal process by which that takes place. And it would be whether you're a natural born citizen or you have sought asylum, however it would work. You just have to prove who you are. And if you can't prove who you are, there's a process by which they will operate, and those processes take place.
Representative Powell, quickly.
I mean, I find people quite frequently can be traveling through the state and might not have their identification on them and might have issues, proving that. And I think unfortunately what this does is it targets certain individuals unfairly. And, and I also just want to say I have serious concerns with the way the law is written. And I know we got a ruling here from legal, but an opinion, but I still think that if this is the case, then we need to tighten this bill up, to make sure that we still have 287G as a voluntary and not a forced program upon cities and communities, because that would be very costful. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Powell. Representative Pearson, you're recognized.
Thank you so much, Chairman and sponsor. Thank you for answering the questions. Thank you to legal. Look, I think this bill, unfortunately, is following a consistent pattern of hurting and sending a shot across the bow to our immigrant community and people who are immigrants, that they are not welcome, that they need to live under fear of deportation. I unfortunately, regardless of that's your intent or not, sponsor, believe that's what this legislation does. And there are two significant concerns that I have with it, and it does relate to the 287G program, because there are two models. There's a jail enforcement model. There's a warrant service officer. But in order to participate, the federal government has said participating jurisdictions sign a memorandum of agreement with ICE. State and local law enforcement officers participating in the program must possess U.S. citizenship and all these other things. There's a process today, if localities wanted to do this, to be able to do it, right? To be able to send this information or to do exactly what your bill is seeking for them to do. And I have a very serious problem with, again, us dictating and telling our local law enforcement agencies that now this is an added responsibility that they have to take on. Because regardless of whether or not it has this fiscal note, and this is the second part, one, there's a program that's in place. Well, the first problem is this is xenophobic legislation. The second problem is there's a program that's in place to meet the needs that you have. Knox County has done this. They're being sued about it. Nashville had this for a while. It's no longer operating. Like, we've tried this. It has not worked. But then I think last is the local law enforcement agencies are now taking on federal government responsibilities. And resolutions that were just passed by this committee said this was a federal government responsibility, that it wasn't the responsibility of the Memphis Police Department to take care of our immigration issues, immigration problems. We've got enough problems. We don't need to be adding to local law enforcement, immigration enforcement. When we have other things that we need for our law enforcement to be doing, and the cost of doing this is going to be substantial, it will be significant. And I don't think we need to be taking time away from our officers in our communities from prioritizing the issues that they need to. And so with that, I can't support this legislation.
Thank you, Representative Pearson. We move on to Chairman Jernigan. You're recognized.
Thank you, Chairman. I just wanted to bring to your attention, I spoke with our police department, Metro Police, and they did have one concern that I just wanted to share with you, is that when they are investigating crime, they often rely on this particular community, if it's going to be involved in that crime, to help them with cases. to share information. So they're trying to, their concern is we pass this and it's mandatory that they clam up. And then it gets very difficult for them to be able to investigate crimes because they're scared to come forward because now they're mandated to be, because they know they're undocumented. But oftentimes they go to the undocumented folks to help them find people to inform them of where a crime is. So I just wanted to, I did say that I would have put that on the record and share their concern in that area for that particular case, and that it would probably hurt them more than help them when they're trying to solve cases. So that's all. Thank you,
Okay,
Chairman.
thank you. Thank you, Chairman Jernigan. We next move on to Chairman Powers. You're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Call the question, please.
Oh, call for the question. Call for the question. Any objection? I see none. So let us vote for House Bill 2124. Those in favor, please say aye. Those opposed, no. And the ayes have it. They prevail. And you are moving on to calendar and rules. Moving on. Item number 14, House Bill 2125. And I've just been reminded, our dear Chairman, Chairman Hastings, well, I hate to move. Okay. Could you excuse yourself and sit down? I don't want, I didn't mean to sound arrogant,
Chairman, can I just,
but my research analyst says we need to get Chairman Hastings on here.
can we?
No,
ask-
you don't need to sit. I'm sorry, he's
Chairman.
sitting here. You stay right there. I'm
Chairman,
sorry.
can we ask Chairman Grills just one question real quick?
Well,
it
we're
doesn't
not
have
on the
nothing-
bill.
No, it's not about the bill. It's not about the
Well,
bill. It's about his appearance today. Is
You
your
may-
wife?
We'll
is-
give you
yeah,
latitude
Is your
there. Go.
beautiful wife Christy here today?
She will be here in a few minutes.
We knew it.
Okay.
All right.
Chairman Hastings, you're recognized on House Bill, what is it, 20? It's item number 3, 2006. You are recognized, sir. We
Thank
got
you,
a motion and a second.
Thank you,
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Chairman. This bill simply would add bluegrass legends Wayne Gerald's song Tennessee, Tennessee to the list of official state songs. He is one of the greatest fiddler players that we've had in the state. He toured with Bill Monroe and Tammy Wynette and has been on the Grand Ole Opry stage over 100 times. With that, I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. And we do have a, wait a minute now. We do have a question. Representative McCallum?
Thank you,
Question?
Chairman. I was just want to see if the sponsor would sing a few bars for us.
Oh.
Imitate the
Chairman
fiddle.
Hastings,
I can't sing a few bars, but seeing the Tammy Wynette up there, I know that it's one of my wife's favorite songs, "Stand By Your Man." I just want to say that I wanted to get a shout out to that Tammy Wynette legendary song. But I do not. If y'all heard me in church, I would go to a different pew.
follow up, Representative McCallum? No, he says no. We do, yes. Chair Lady Littleton, you recognize.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I will have to say that I think Hoot Hester, the late Hoot Hester, was the best fiddler ever. But I'm going to vote for your bill anyway. But I do have to say that because he was my dear friend and he was one of the very best fiddlers. So thank you very much.
I agree with that. That's why I made sure to say one of the best.
Well, okay, very good. Any further questions to the chairman? Thank you. We got a call for the question. Let us vote on House Bill 2006. Those in favor, please say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes prevail. And Chairman Hastings, you are headed calendar and rule, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Congratulations. Please, would you please return, Chairman Grills? And it's good to have you back. Thank you, sir. Item number 14, House Bill 2125. No amendments. Chairman Grills, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee. One of the ladies in my district called me back in last November and asked me to make the month of November Christian Heritage Appreciation Month. So one of my constituents asked me to do something. I do my best to try to meet their needs. And that's the reason I brought this bill, to recognize the importance that Christians have made this nation and to our state over the past years. And so what we're doing here is just encouraging people to learn as much as they can about the Christian heritage that founded this nation. And that is my intention with this bill, and the consultation with one of the some of the constituents from my part of the world.
All right. Okay. Thank you for that explanation. Representative Pearson, you're recognized.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. I am a Christian. I go to church every Sunday, once or twice. But I do not believe that we should designate November as Christian Heritage Month. And the reason being, as a state that has a beautiful diversity of people who are within it, who celebrate a lot of different faith traditions, who have a lot of different belief systems that they hold, designating and elevating with our seal one particular religion, the one that I follow, is very problematic to me. And we are not a theocracy, though I like to quote scripture all the time and believe that our responsibility is to do things that are in line with our values. Putting that on all of our constituencies, as diverse as they are, I don't think is the right thing to do. And the reality is our ways of practicing are so different that saying Christian by itself isn't good enough. There are a lot of people who call themselves Christian, but do very unchristian-like things, from my opinion. You have questions related to immigration come up here all the time. And if you read the text, and I got some of here in Deuteronomy, let them live among you wherever they like and in whatever town they choose. You've got Exodus, do not mistreat or oppress a foreigner, for you are foreigners in Egypt. And yet we'll pass laws and resolutions against people who are foreigners, or as one representative said, aliens or immigrants, right? Like, we can't say we're going to lift up Christianity when in its diversity and in its complexity, you're also doing things that lift up oppression. And so while I appreciate your constituent saying this is important, it's something that needs to be recognized, we also need to recognize the diversity of all of our communities and all the faiths that we have, and recognize the diversity within Christianity that has some people supporting ideologies that are hateful and harmful and legislating that, and others who are fighting for liberation in Christianity. And so that's why I can't support this legislation, while I do admire and appreciate you representing your constituent.
Thank you, Representative Pearson. On to Chairman Bricken, you're recognized, sir. 5 minutes, gentlemen. I'm not timing you, but I'm just warning everybody, we got 5 minutes. Okay.
Thank
Yes,
you,
sir, go.
Mr. Chairman. A couple of quick questions, and maybe illegal. When we designate a month, anything, do we have other, has November been designated for something else before, or are all 12 months already designated? Why November?
All right, Chairman Grills.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And by November, Thanksgiving is one of the holidays that's mostly appreciated in my family. And this woman asked me to make this month, and so in accordance to what she asked. And I want to go back to one thing that was said a while ago. We are not requiring anyone to be a Christian. We are encouraging citizens to learn more about Christian heritage. There's a difference between requiring and encouraging. You may not want to, and that's fine. You don't have to. You don't have to participate in it. But I don't believe encouraging someone is a bad thing.
Chairman Bricken, follow up.
Yeah, kind of just, and I'll find out, talk to legal. I just curiously didn't know if we had all the other months accounted for in some designation or not. And if this passes, does it redesignate November from somebody else that might have years ago designated November? So.
Okay. Is that a question then to the chair, or is that just a comment, or?
Just more of a comment.
Okay, that's fine. Let's move. We're out of time now. We've got one more. Chair Lady Littleton.
I'll call for previous question.
She calls for the previous question. All right. Is there any objection? We're countdown's on. Okay. I see none. So let us vote. Those in favor of House Bill 2125, please say aye. Those opposed, no.
No.
The ayes have it, and that will be, you will move on to calendar and rules.
Thank you, Mr.
Chairman, and good luck. Is it next week, Ag Day, or when? Tomorrow? Is it when? Oh, it's a week. I'm sorry. Week from Tuesday. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. All right, item number. Well, wait a minute here. We've got our analyst says we've got 1 minute. It'll take 1 minute for item number 6. Our sponsor is back in the house, item number 6, and that is Chairman Hicks. Well, gosh, yes, we better take time for Chairman Hicks. He's the banker now. So that is, do we have it's House Bill 2090. There is an amendment, but let's get a motion in a second. We got a motion and a second. We also got an amendment, Chairman, and can you give us that tracking code?
I can. Let's see. I see. I heard that. 14737.
Wrong.
Is that the wrong one?
Well, okay. Sorry. There says there's 2 amendments. Okay. You're correct. Go, please, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you, members, and thank you, Chairman. House Bill 2090, the legislation does just a few things. Improves the time it takes for procuring goods and services, requires persons to file a protest to prove their case by clear and convincing evidence, allows the CPO to keep a protest bond if the CPO finds that a protest has been filed in bad faith, and also clarifies what procurement records can be viewed.
We got a motion. I failed. The chair failed to ask for a motion in a second to get the amendment on the bill. Yes, we got it. All right. Did we vote? Those in favor of that, say aye. Those opposed, no. Ayes have it. It's now on the bill. Any questions to the sponsor on the bill? Got a call for the question. Any objections? No, I don't see any. So let us vote. Those in favor of House Bill 2090 as amended, please say aye. Those opposed, like sign. The ayes prevail, and you're going to calendar and rules, sir. I need
Thank you, Chairman and committee.
The remainder of the bills. All right. The remainder of the calendar we will take up next week. Thank you all very much. I do need Representative Powell to give me a motion and to adjourn. Yes, we do. We're adjourned.
Hey, thanks for fitting me in. Thank you.
You bet. You got it.